Welcome back. In this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to draw the string for your Zentangle project. Now, this string should bring unity to the overall picture. What you want is you want to make sure this string goes through almost every box of your Zentangle. You'll notice that every single box here has been drawn through. Also, try to overlap your Zentangle string a couple times so that you can have some interest in the way that it kind of weaves through your picture. So to get started, you'll have your grid paper that you made in our last session. Your name should be on it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your pencil and start somewhere. I like to start on the left-hand side and draw to the right because I'm right-handed. Obviously, it does not matter where you start exactly, just that you make sure you draw through all of the boxes. So if I start down here, you're going to come up and you're going to make sure as you're thinking to go through every single box. You could use wiggly lines, you could use straight lines, you could use zigzag lines, whatever you see is the best for your composition, so long as you have a nice flow to the design. So there's my string. I've tried to go through every box. I think I missed one here and one here. If you miss one or two, that's okay, but try to go through just about every box. Once you've got your first line that goes through every box, you're going to make another line. It's going to be parallel to the first. Okay? Now your parallel line, think about how it's going to be, which side of it you're going to go on so that you don't get too close to the edges. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to have my line be fairly thick. And I want to just follow this first line all the way around and try to make it as accurate and nice as possible so that it really brings the eye through the picture. Okay, now as I start doing this, it's going to overlap between one or two different squares, and that's alright. Whatever works out for you. And you could obviously have your string more simple than this, or you could have it more complicated than this. It's really up to you and the style of your drawing and your level of ability as well. Alright, so there's my finished parallel line. Now that you've got your parallel line in, you're going to take a Sharpie or some other fine tipped permanent marker and you're going to trace over that line. Alright, now if you want to edit a few parts, like let's say you want this to be a little curvier and go through the center of that box, you might want to take the time before you Sharpie and edit it. So for example, let's pretend I want this curve to be a little wider. Then I would say make sure you do that ahead of time and edit your line and then edit the new line in so that you can erase it before you get your Sharpie happening. Otherwise, I've found for myself and for students that once you start Sharpieing, it's difficult to re-edit things. So let's say I want that to be more of a circle. Edit it before you start. Then take your Sharpie and just carefully trace right over your line. Now, when you come into a situation where your two lines cross, try to think of which line do you want to be on top. So if I Sharpie this line here, obviously then this other line is going to be underneath like so, and that one's going to be on top. So then I would make sure that this Sharpied line would come out this way and this one would come out this way so that the two lines are overlapping. Alright, so try to think about overlapping and how overlapping will play into your design. Now I'm just going to continue with this line here. And if you make a little bit of a mistake or you go off of your line, try to do your best in making sure that you're just careful and make sure that you have movement and purpose with your line rather than being or questioning yourself. Make sure that you have purpose with that line and it looks like you're meaning to do what you're doing. Now I'm going to rotate my drawing here just for ease of the demonstration, for my own ergonomics. Of course, you can do whatever you need to at your place of work to make that happen for you. If you need to turn your paper or not, I suggest it. It's a nice way to keep your flow going rather than having to turn your wrist here and be uncomfortable. It's easier to turn your page and not be uncomfortable. Okay, now this one I decided I was going to have it go underneath, so I stopped at that line. So just to kind of draw that part in, I'm going to draw that line over it, and just so you can see it, erase that little piece like so. Now you see that one that goes underneath, and likewise this one back here. It went underneath, and that other piece goes over the top like that. Okay, now continuing on, I'm going to rotate my picture around again so I can do this easily. Again, this line should be bringing a sense of unity to your overall picture. Okay, so there's my finished string. And And now if you want to, you could take an eraser and erase the inside bits of the grid so that you can kind of clearly see your string that's laid out, or if you made any mistakes or changed your design as you were going, you could erase that part, like right here. Obviously that's quite confusing to look at once you start trying to do your tangles inside of the line. Try to leave your grid though, so that you can keep your patterns accurate and gridded to the right areas. So this line is bringing unity to our picture. It's bringing a little bit of depth since we've overlapped some parts of it. And we're kind of trying to think ahead into how this design is going to hold together in a sense that brings balance and unity to our picture. Okay, so that's pretty much erased. And again, these lines are kind of hard for me to get rid of because I pressed so hard for our original demonstration of the grid lines, but I was able to get rid of pretty much most of them. So here you go. There is our final string for our Zentangle composition. Next, you'll be making your homework project for your Zentangle, and you'll then start filling in your Zentangle design with your own tangles.